Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Optimizing Your First Party and Third Party Delivery Strategy webinar, a conversation sponsored by Uber Direct, where we are going to learn how restaurants can keep using their ordering experience native to their brand image while expanding delivery options to customers. I'm Bernadette Heyer, Associate Editor at Food on Demand. Over the next hour, we'll dive into how first-party delivery complements being on third-party delivery apps, and also hear from a multi-unit restaurant operator who leverages both third-party and first-party delivery to boost their sales. I am honored to be joined by these three experts on the topic: Zach Noren, Enterprise Partner Manager for Online Delivery at Uber Direct. An Uber veteran of 4 years, Zach has built successful partnerships with various global and national brands. Jeremy Sutton, Customer Success Manager at Incentivio, a customer engagement platform, which Jeremy joined in 2016 to scale their customer success team, which offers marketing and strategic growth consulting and more. And we have Joey Chiaffi, CEO and founder of Salad House. Joey has over 30 years of experience in the restaurant industry. He founded Salad House, a New Jersey-based health-conscious restaurant that today is rapidly growing with 11 locations and several more in development throughout the East Coast. Zach, Jeremy, Joey, thank you all for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
So today, there is no longer a one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to restaurant delivery. Restaurant operators need to diversify their delivery strategy to meet different business goals and stay ahead of the curve. Our goal today is to provide best practices for merchants who are curious about leveraging Uber Direct to accept delivery orders from their own website or app, while leveraging Uber Eats courier fleet and creating a more personalized delivery experience that does not rely on the third-party marketplace for order generation. And again, how the combination of the two can be beneficial from a marketing, financial, and operational perspective. And so with that, let's dive into today's conversation. Zach, let's start with you. Give me a bit of background on yourself and what led you to the direct side of Uber.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much, Bernadette, for having me again. Just recently celebrated my 4th Uberversary. I started on the SMB account management team, overseeing the Massachusetts and Rhode Island market from a partnership and operations standpoint. It was really an incredible transformation to start pre-pandemic and then go through the pandemic with restaurants hand in hand to help them really build their delivery channel through Uber Eats. And through the pandemic, online ordering really took off, and via the Postmates acquisition, an opportunity to come join the Uber Direct team presented itself, where I could go work with large global brands, and didn't hesitate at the opportunity, given my track record and passion for helping restaurants really grow their business. And it's what's led me to Uber Direct. I've been here now 2 years and really helping shape the product from a partnership standpoint, pre-sale, integration, and then post-sale account management standpoint. And it's just been absolutely a thrill to be a part of this team and help, I don't want to say reshape the delivery industry, but help it grow into, really new channels that have yet to either be tapped into or just starting to be built out.
Great, thank you. Jeremy, a bit on your background, please, and what's led you into Incentivio?
Yeah, sure. My passion and my heart has always been in startups and also emerging technologies. So I had the pleasure of first encountering Toast back in 2013. And I saw the product in use at one of their first customers, and I just knew I had to be a part of that company. And I had the honor of being somewhere between employee number 25 and 30. And I intentionally explored all different kinds of roles before finding my ultimate passion in customer success. And after the pandemic and Toast, I found another company called Bbot that did robotic food runners. They ended up pivoting to order and pay at the table services and were acquired by DoorDash recently. So I was working at DoorDash for a little while, and I was like, you know what? I'm back at the big company again. It's time for the next startup. And I found Incentivio, and they are pursuing what I see as the next frontier, which is, data analytics, machine learning, tailored guest experiences, and just started beating down their door at Incentivio, and the rest is history.
Thank you. And Joey, tell me about Salad House and its journey into where the business is today.
So, I grew up in the family business. I'm a proud son of an immigrant family that came over from Italy, used food as the vessel to achieve the American dream. I was born and raised in the food business, and I've seen I've seen it all. I'm not actually. I haven't seen it all because we always see new things, crazy things happen. But at the same time, I've been through it all. And Salad House was kind of a brainchild of my vision of what I thought fast casuals, the direction it was going in. In 2011, I started my first location, Salad House of Millburn, and I always joked that it was to make my wife happy because there was no chopped salads in the suburbs, and in New York City it was booming, and there was like on every street corner. But I kind of made it my own, changed it, to make it a little bit more suburbia friendly. And, opened up a second location. And at that point, I decided I wanted to, take on a strategic partner and to franchise the business because I felt as though there was definitely a need for it. I proved it twice, and I brought on my partner, Jerry. And at that point, we really, tightened we tightened all the bolts and made sure that the place was scalable. And fast forward now, we are open. We have 11 locations that are open, and we have 5 under construction, another 8 that are signed, but we haven't found a location. So we'll be up to like 24 locations within the next 12 to 18 months. So.
Great. Thank you all for the introductions. Zach, back to you. At a basic level, what is Uber Direct and how does it work for restaurants? And, what does it really mean to own your own delivery channel?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think regardless of whether you are a small or medium-sized business, SMB, or you're even a global enterprise brand, having a well-defined strategy for growing your delivery channel is so crucial today. And Uber Direct and Uber Eats really can address the specific needs and objectives for really any brand looking to enhance their off-premise capabilities and drive growth in the surging demand for off-premise services. And with Uber Eats, it's really offering that, reliable delivery service that really allows you to tap into Uber's vast courier network and reach millions of customers effortlessly. Through Uber Direct, being that we are a global leader in moving people and things, Direct enables you to really have that direct relationship, no pun intended there, with your customers and take control of the delivery process, regardless if you're a restaurant, a grocery store, an e-commerce platform, really anybody in the B2C and B2B space. With Uber Direct, you're really able to offer that seamless delivery experience through your native channels. You get to maintain that brand consistency and ensure that customer satisfaction at the tip of your fingers and really through your staff versus, say, through the third-party marketplace. So what this approach really does is it provides opportunities to not only optimize your margin by choosing the delivery fee structure that best suits your model, but through our API integration, through not just our POS partners and aggregator partners like Incentivio, you're really able to tap your first-party channel into the Uber delivery network and manage those delivery requests wherever they may be funneling through. So in some cases, we do work with brands who actually build these integrations in-house. And with Direct, whereas Uber Eats, it's a percentage-based pricing. I know this is a long talked about topic. However, with Direct, it's actually quite the opposite. And we're offering tailored commission-free rates based on factors like distance, speed, and regional market conditions. So really, to sum that up, you pay a fee per trip, and that's it. And it's really hard to imagine. I would say not even a decade ago, the third-party apps didn't exist. First-party delivery was the only option available. I mean, I remember calling up all my local favorites and seeing if they had local delivery available. And I really say up until the COVID-19 pandemic, there were not really a ton of operators who were digitally prepared, from a tech stack standpoint, to have a fully functioning online ordering capability like there's been available today, I would say over the past 2-3 years. And so with the pandemic, really overnight, we saw what I really like to talk about, which is call it omni-channel delivery experience really take hold, and that brands really need to meet customers wherever they may be in the digital world. And with advancements in the technology today, the back of house truly underwent a digital transformation that really enabled and skyrocketed the ability to manage third-party orders and really opened the door, I would say, for digital first-party delivery that maybe, call it 5 years ago, brands weren't really thinking about. So I think today it's really crucial to have that strategy. And what does it really mean to own your own channel? It's gaining that control of the entire life cycle of the customer experience. So it's how they integrate with you or interact with you from the minute they find you on a website or through your own app. And we know firsthand that customers are the backbone of any brand's business. And with a first-party solution, you're able to tailor that experience from the communication they receive, the delivery fees they encounter in the purchasing process, that really allows you to build that, truly owned sales channel where you can hit them with more, and really also as well, gain access into who your customer is too. So that's detailed data, insights that can inform future email marketing campaigns, offering limited time offers and remarketing efforts. So being able to truly own that channel is something that we're proud and able to offer through Uber Direct and really help our partners grow their own way.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Jeremy, tell me how Incentivio plays into this mix and what it offers to help streamline those delivery operations.
Yeah, of course. And actually, I want to comment on something that Zach said before I jump into that. He brought up a really good point about the pandemic. And I would just want to call out if your digital strategy or your digital ordering strategy hasn't substantially changed since before the pandemic, now's a really great time to look at that, because I just remember being boots on the ground during that time, and it was just an overwhelming amount of change that was happening across the industry, and that has now set the precedent for everything going forward. And like Zach said, it's led to the creation of Uber Direct and what we're talking about today. So that's the first question I want to pose to anyone listening today. And then going back to your question about Incentivio, Incentivio it's a really expansive and comprehensive platform. But as it relates to today, we have products for white label app creation, so mobile ordering, digital ordering solution. We have gift cards that integrate with your point of sale system and a digital gift card solution. So think about like the Starbucks app. And then we have a machine learning loyalty program that we're constantly adding more AI and machine learning features to, especially next year. We're going after that really aggressively. And all of this ties back in to really enriching the Uber Direct experience as well. So this is separate from the Uber Eats third-party marketplace, but when we're using Uber Direct, you're able to action all of that customer data that you're getting and continue to market to your guests.
Absolutely. And I know that the customer data side is a big critical aspect of leveraging Uber Direct. Jeremy, can you explain to me, since you work directly with the data and customer engagement platform, what that looks like, the data compared to a traditional third-party relationship?
Yeah, so when you're working with a third-party marketplace, that data is retained in there. You probably can do a mass export. It's not going to be very actionable. But if you are having somebody going directly through your point of sale system or through a service like Incentivio, you're able to have access to much more data and insights into like what kind of items they were ordering so that you can market on specific items within that. And something that I always position to my customers is to consider the third-party marketplaces as the top of your sales funnel. They are an essential marketing component to help move people into ordering with you directly, which of course has a cost savings benefit to you. And if you haven't looked at this before, it's something that's pretty common is my clients will have some marginally increased pricing on the third-party services so that they can better capture and offset those commission costs. And then they can position their first party on Uber Direct ordering, which is cheaper to them after they've actually captured that customer for the first time. So we can do marketing campaigns that are targeted to these customers coming from the marketplaces and then move them into working directly and exclusively with your brands. And then you're always capturing people that may prefer to just live in there anyways. Some people may just prefer to work in the marketplaces, and that's fine. But we can at least be capturing as many people as possible and kind of moving them down the track, as I say.
Yeah, thank you. And Joey, not to leave you hanging, we're very interested from an operator standpoint, of course, knowing that you do leverage both first and third-party platforms. But before we head into that and how that works best for you, I'm interested in hearing what are some challenges you face in the current delivery ecosystem.
Well, before COVID, obviously we had to do our native, hire delivery drivers, and that was a challenge, and still is. I'm involved in a small business that hasn't. I think I've reached out to Zach, though. I think I'm able to convert my Italian deli, an old school Italian deli, but it was difficult because the reliability, having to basically staff other people, and with our business where we're scaling it and we're trying to open up multiple locations, it's just another headache and component for these some of these new business owners. And just overall, it was just kind of messy, and it was just, you were constantly depending on these these drivers that were would flake out at times. So this kind of gave us some stability, especially when third party came in. And to what Jeremy said, also like the marketing component, more eyes were on our business than ever before. So like that, we were excited about that, but then, the fees and all that other stuff. So it was like kind of like countered. So like some of my locations would, prefer to just have their own delivery drivers in-house and not rely upon and try and convert people to to native ordering and native delivery. So once this came available, this was almost like, this was like, not to make you feel, it's like godsend. Like this alleviated a lot of problems that we had, just by both, with the challenges that we have with, the drivers and inconsistency with the drivers, and the stories that I have for days about, drivers and situations that we've had in the past, but also with fees and stuff. This was kind of constant, and we kind of knew exactly what it was, and just having the data, customer data. We were very data driven here at the Salad House. That's kind of one of the things that, once we assembled the team, we wanted to know who our customers were, where they were coming from, when they ordered, who they ordered, like it was invaluable data that we're able to obtain. So.
Yes, and you did mention, the data and access to the courier fleet and so on as being options to address those issues that you've dealt with. So anything else you'd like to add on how leveraging both first and third-party delivery has been able to be beneficial to attract and retain customers?
Just to double down on the fact that, DoorDash and Uber Eats are just such big, they just have, their outreach is just, it's incredible, and the customers and the visibility that we're able to, to be like, and I'm one of those people that we'll sit there with my wife and I and just sit on DoorDash and sit on Uber Eats and, sit there. We go for like a half hour debating on what we're going to eat. But then again, our regular spots, like Starbucks, Salad House, we have the apps that, that actually, but we find them through, we find our favorites through these third parties. And then, being, somewhat of a savvy consumer, knowing that there are fees attached to it and there are different things. Like if I do really like someplace and I'm really, and I love their product and I know that it's in my rotation, my weekly rotation, we get we get this every week. My kids want Chipotle, we want that. We know exactly that, so we will download their app so we can get rewards, so we can, and then save some money on the fact that, we will download like an app like the Salad House has and get them, direct. So I feel as though it's kind of converting more people to this to the native ordering and the native ordering being able to be so efficient now and reliable, with Uber Direct, it's just been like a win-win for us.
And Joey, back to you. Do you know about how many of your orders are being generated via third-party marketplace versus those on your first-party website or app?
Yeah, it's a tricky question because now we're situated we have multiple 11 locations. So some of the locations are a little bit more of like a urban-ish area, and some are more suburban areas. So the more urban areas are heavy with the third party, and converting them has been a little difficult. I think people are just accustomed to doing it, and they're just set in their ways. And maybe they're marketed. I don't know that end of it, but maybe that they have the marketing tools in those areas are keeping them at the third party. But some of our more suburb locations will be more native. So I would say if rough numbers, like 60% of orders coming in more of the urban areas are third party, roughly. And then when you flip over to the suburbs, it's probably the exact opposite. It's probably like 60 native, 40 third party. So that's kind of what we've figured out as we were growing.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we all know, customer behavior can be difficult to change, and to have that conversion happen from first party or third party, to first party. So Zach or Jeremy, whoever would like to chime in first, how have Uber and Incentivio worked together to drive that positive impact for restaurant operators and address those issues that Joey discussed as well?
Yeah, I think I'd like to speak to this first, if you don't mind, Zach. This is something I'm doing on a weekly basis, actually, is brainstorming with our clients, how we can target and market to these customers in ways that matter. So anytime you're getting a third party order, you know that it's coming from a third party when you're at the restaurant. So you have the opportunity to be marketing to them with physical, like bag stuffers. So what I usually recommend is actually just like a little business card campaign. And this usually has a really high conversion rate, even in urban areas. But Joey's absolutely right. You are going to see less adoption in urban areas over suburban areas because people are just used to being overwhelmed with choice and like it. But to actually market to them and say, hey, sign up and use our app, or order direct with us next time for exclusive pricing. Sometimes just having different pricing for your main menu is all that it takes to get a customer on there. You don't actually have to give anything away. And additionally, you can actually target discounting the Uber Direct delivery rate for first-time customers and signups. So both of those things can have a huge impact on doing that, but it's also not the end of the world that people are on third parties, because you're getting sales that you wouldn't get otherwise, and it's free marketing. So
yeah, I would say I think, at least with the way we look at it here at Uber, is it's, again, not to champion or continue to pounce on the omni-channel delivery approach, but you really need to meet customers wherever they might find you in that digital landscape, whether it is through a third party or a first party channel. And so at the end of the day, it's about generating more demand and reaching those customers through whatever channel that may be. And how are you maximizing your brand's visibility and accessibility to attracting a wider audience and driving that additional revenue? And I think Jeremy talked about it here earlier. Uber Eats acts as a really powerful marketing funnel and serves as that effective conversion funnel to your first party channel. I can't tell you how many conferences, food on demand included, that I've been to at the last 2 years that have discussed this, and I can confidently say that Uber has that tailored solution to meet your need on both ends of the spectrum, whether it be third party or first party. And I would say really it's about driving that customer loyalty through that first party channel. And with social media today, you can create that kind of offering to reach those customers and let them know, hey, it's not, you don't have to just find us on Uber Eats. Maybe we have a limited time offer that we're going to only run through our delivery channel, and then bring it onto the Uber Eats app to kind of rein it on in as a potential, call it effective marketing campaign, or it's a targeted loyalty campaign. So it really comes down to, and I think this is what Incentivio does really well, is creating those really impactful marketing campaigns. But furthermore, it's really, really, really just about, what we're trying to do at our core here at Uber Eats and Direct is, is helping our partners grow. And something that, is one of our core values is that we build that with heart, and we demonstrate that commitment to understanding our partners' needs and building better products that positively impact both our communities and the brands we serve. And I think in that sense, it's also not to, shout out another core value here, but it's about doing the right thing, period. And really ensuring that our partners are able to grow that digital footprint, not just on Uber Eats, but beyond it. So, when it comes to changing that behavior, I don't think it's about changing it. I think it's about optimizing it. And how do you optimize that? Really, it's creating that really enjoyable customer journey through the purchasing process. And what does that delivery experience look like through your first party channel, and tailoring that messaging through your brand so that an eater feels like there's no difference almost between going in store and interacting with you through your digital channel.
Thank you. And yeah, as mentioned, that tailoring and customization aspect is really critical. So how can customization and further Uber Direct features benefit these restaurants, whether it's an SMB or a large multi-unit? Zach or Jeremy, you can chime in.
Yeah, I'll go right back at it. Yeah, kind of what I was just talking about. It's that customization, it's that storytelling, it's the messaging, it's what are you doing today to really maximize all of your channels and really have a what I would say is a targeted loyalty program that's going to deeply resonate with your customers to create that repeat behavior on not just the third party channel, but even your first party channel, more so. Not to bring another Uber core value in here, but something that we're really deeply passionate about is being trip obsessed, and we know that with the first party channel, when we're your fulfillment partner, every order matters, and that's repeat customers, and making sure that we're taking care of from a hospitality standpoint, eaters beyond the third party marketplace. Is so crucial for our partners, and we want to be able to serve our partners appropriately in that way. And then secondly, it's the customized fees, right? So because we're able to offer those customized fees based on distance and speed and market conditions, we're able to essentially create a nice little channel for our partners to grow this incrementality beyond third-party marketplace. And while it may seem like a competing priority, it's really quite the opposite. And what we've seen is that by brands who actually are embracing third-party and first-party channels today, and I'm sure Joey can attest to this as well, these brands are really creating thriving ecosystem where multiple channels complement and reinforce each other. And I think as a result, what we've seen thus far is that their order volume on both channels is actually growing. And it's leading to really increased business opportunities for not just the brands, but really our couriers too, looking to maximize their earning potential, because there's more orders coming out of that given location, and really creates this nice little flywheel effect of being able to have a steady flow of orders that are going to be operationally sound and delivering a best-in-class experience.
Yeah, and actually to expand on that just a little bit, or more so to summarize a lot of what Zach has been saying, is you really need to have a shotgun approach for this. There's not going to be one solution that you can force every customer into. It's really just about making sure that you have every possible channel open that makes sense for your business. But the more channels you can have open, the better. If you can find a way to manage it, if you're overwhelmed by technology or afraid to just start with that, just make a big list and make a big list of possible channels and just start going down the list one by one. Maybe do one per month, but it's not going to be a one size fits all solution. And the other thing I want to mention too is this hybrid solution that we're talking about today. Uh, this is not something that's trending necessarily. This already is kind of become the standard. It's just a matter of are you ready to move to this model yet? But this is the way the industry is going to be for the foreseeable future.
Yes, and as we've already heard, there are those numerous reasons for adding first-party delivery via Uber Direct, whether it's that off-premises customization as mentioned, gaining that critical customer data, as well as the cost savings. Joey, which of these would you say are the most important aspect to your company, and what do you like most about the user experience of Uber Direct for customers ordering direct versus the marketplace?
So, what happens with third party is if there is an error, which, ultimately there's going to be an error. I always joke that we're never going to be perfect, even though people expect us to be perfect and there's going to be some situations. And when there's third party, or when there's errors, it's hard to track, it's like hard to communicate because they're calling a call center, and then the call center is calling us and they're getting mad. And our reputation is, we're not directly speaking to the customer and able to fix, what is wrong. Over there, it's pretty easy, like, I'll just credit you and stuff. And then we don't really, unless we really audit our, credits and mistakes, like we get, we don't really know exactly the extent of how badly we messed up unless we see a bad review or whatever the case may be. So, having that, connection and being able to speak to the customer, when there is an error, or there's something that, or there's like maybe an allergy or something that a customer is a little concerned about, and, they want to make sure that they get it right, as opposed to, putting it in the notes, DoorDash and Uber Eats, like there's some restaurants that don't even allow you to put in notes and stuff like that. So if you have a child that has an allergy or something, there's certain things that, you might be afraid of, with ordering and not realizing, because not everybody is so educated in knowing that third party isn't really us. It's like a separate entity, and they go, there's different channels and they have to pay us, and it's and then people get hangry. I hate to say it, but like, people, when you're hungry, you get hangry, and like, so our consumers, when they don't get something right, or if they don't get their food, like, it's a different kind of anger than if they, went home and their shirt was the wrong size or something, it was mislabeled or something. It's a little bit different. But also to what Zach said as well, like having regular faces, and this becoming something where like they know that the salad house is super busy, within this, 2-3 hour span during lunch, and they know, the drivers know that this is a good place for them to be, to camp out. And then, for our customers to see maybe regular faces or even our management, our team, handing the bag to like somebody that they know, and being on a first name basis, and sometimes throwing them, give them a little bit of food, or give that, having that relationship really humanizes this cold, where it's like, it's very transactional, like, it's almost like it became like, so like, here, I'm here for Uber, give me my food. Like, it's like, this is a little bit, again, it just makes it a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? It was just a better experience, just overall.
Thank you. It's great to hear from somebody hands-on leveraging and experiencing those strategies. And so, finally, Zach, what should these restaurants be looking at internally to prepare for when deciding to begin leveraging a platform like Uber Direct alongside a third-party marketplace? What's the best-in-class strategy for starting out?
Yeah, that's a great question, Bernadette. I'd say when evaluating moving forward with a best-in-class delivery strategy as a brand, I think there's several holistic factors you really need to consider based on the experience that I've had working with brands, from one location to thousands. Firstly, I think you need to assess what stage your business is currently at, right? Are you prepared and capable of handling more orders through a first-party channel, or do you already have that established? I think if it's the latter, it's really important what you're doing to optimize that channel and determine the needs, of a long-term and short-term goals that you're looking to achieve. Something that we frequently talk about here at Uber is what are you solving for? And I think there's no reason why brands should be thinking about this the same way. Once you have clarity on this, I think you can really develop an effective strategy. And while the food in the restaurants remain the same, both on Uber Eats and Uber Direct, we're actively working towards a shared goal for restaurant operators, which is delivering food in a best-in-class experience. So, I would say with that, it's with Direct, it really allows you, as we've talked about here, to make that really direct relationship that Joey was talking about here with your regular customers, or even really convert new customers from Uber Eats who may not even known you had existed or had a online ordering capability. And so I think on one hand, if it's about margin control, you have that opportunity through Direct because it's a delivery fee versus a percentage. And so as an operator, you can choose to absorb that cost completely or pass it on to the end customer, however you see fit, and even create marketing campaigns around the fee itself. So I would say most importantly, it's how do you retain all the valuable customer data and understanding who they are, their demographics and preferences and ordering habits to hit them with those remarketing campaigns. And I think through that, it's then tailoring that to those attractive loyalty programs and just overall creating that experience. Something Joey talked about too, right, is that support experience. And I think that's something that's really cool that we're able to offer through our Uber Direct dashboard, is the ability to see all the orders that are actually live, where they are in the tracking experience, so that when those situations do arise, I wish we could say we're perfect on everything. We're pretty darn close on the Uber Direct side. But needless to say, it gives you just more visibility as an owner operator, even as a brand today, to be able to have that support experience and really prepare your team when those situations arise, so that they can help create that recovery experience to make sure that eater continues to come back to their first party channel. So I would say in summary, it's so crucial to really assess your business and what stage you're at, optimizing those existing channels and really understanding those long-term and short-term goals. By leveraging the best of both Uber Eats and Direct, you're really able to just reach that broader customer base, increase sales, retain that valuable customer data that everybody is after. And that's just ultimately going to enable you to really craft that personalized messaging and experience for your customers with the brand that they've come to love and know.
Great. Well, we are heading to wrap up here, but is there anything from Jeremy or Joey or Zach you'd like to add in general about leveraging that first party and third party delivering ordering or Uber Direct in general?
Well, I'd like to add a story real quick. You just reminded me of a story that just happened recently. Somewhat of a large order of a third party that I'll remain anonymous. I won't say which one it was, but it was a large order. It was about almost $300, somewhat of a catering type order, and the driver he picked it up, but then went kind of MIA for a while. And the customer was calling in a frenzy. They had to feed a luncheon, and she was very upset, and understandably so. When you have a lunch meeting, you have X amount of time to be able to feed your staff or your visitors. And we couldn't really locate him, and we had no idea. And they were trying to reach him, and there was no way of finding out what. So she was so frustrated, and I'm being like a people pleaser and being a business owner, and I want to retain that that customer, especially any customer. I don't care if you spend that's ingrained in me. Like if you just buy a salad or if you have a catering order, you're trusting me with something that's so food transaction is an intimate thing. Like you're trusting me with feeding you and your family, friends, or whatever have you. So I take it personal. So I'm like, listen, I will make the food. I'll take it, whatever I got to do to make this right. So she canceled it. Next thing you know, the guy shows up at our place with, all this food. And he's just like, why did they cancel? Stuff like that. We're like, you didn't respond to what, and we had no idea. They didn't know. It was kind of a messy situation. But if she didn't call me directly and she was just calling that third party and they were just, we don't know where he is and stuff like that. If she didn't call the restaurant, I would have lost that. Now instead I've gained that and obviously I've converted her to native, and it was and I was able to make right for the situation. But in a situation where good thing she called, because if not, she would just think that we were inept or somebody stole. It was like kind of a messy thing. So just to add to just to give you that's a real example of why we're gearing towards converting more to Uber Direct.
That's actually an excellent segue to what I wanted to say anyways. I was going to say, I wanted to address, anyone. Yeah, I wanted to talk about exactly this. I want to address anyone who's listening to this call and being like, well, I want to have total quality control over my orders too. And it's we're talking about third party, we're talking about, first party with Uber Direct, but you can also even add more to that hybrid solution, especially for catering orders that are so sensitive and more complicated, where you can have an in-house driver and you can flexibly assign your own drivers. You can cancel the delivery from Uber when it comes in, and you can say, I'm going to send out my own person for this catering order. So you really have total flexibility to control however much you want to, but I just don't want people to ignore the marketing opportunity of third-party services because there's a commission cost. If the commission cost is a huge concern for you, just build it into the pricing of your menu. I promise you that your younger customers are already used to that happening. They're already aware of that happening. And if someone's frustrated about that pricing, you can direct them to ordering directly from you. The other thing I wanted to mention, coming to Incentivio from DoorDash, I was actually pleasantly surprised that we actually have a weekly meeting with a dedicated partner at Uber. So this is something that Uber is very actively investing in. This is something they care about. They're building functionality for. I'm not saying that DoorDash doesn't. I'm just saying I wasn't involved or seeing that kind of the same kind of investment. And to close, no one paid me extra to say that. I'm not getting kickbacks for that. That is a genuine, pleasant surprise I saw when I joined Incentivio, and it made me really excited about this partnership. And it's why I'm talking here today.
My guy Jared, who you guys have interacted with, he echoes the same sentiment. Jared says that the communication has been incredible, and that's so important. It's very important, especially with things that could go awry like that in our industry, and getting somebody to fix it or to kind of guide us through something at that moment is so important. So I'm glad you brought that up. So you just threw it back to me.
No, I really appreciate the sentiment here, Jeremy and Joey. I think it comes down to just the core belief of partnership 101, right? It's how do we make for everybody here 1 and 1 equal 3, and how do we continuously together push the ball forward to help grow our respective businesses, and more importantly, beyond that, how do we make sure that the end customer continues to want to order through both of our channels, whether it's Uber Eats or Uber Direct via a brand's native channel, and making sure that we're maintaining that parity experience that eaters today have not just become accustomed to, but quite frankly demand. And I would say on that front, it's for Direct specifically, we're really taking the best features of Uber Eats from the messaging, the alerts that come through your phone via SMS, to the tracking, to being able to leverage things like catering orders via your native channel and making sure that they get there efficiently and on time. These are all things that without partner managers today, like myself, as well as my colleague Bree, who oversees the partnership with Incentivio, none of it's possible for us to really achieve the goals that we have set forth. Because let's face it, the delivery industry as a whole is so competitive, and without being able to collectively build on not just from a product standpoint, but a partnership standpoint, there's no room for anybody really to grow in the space. So being able to take that active feedback when we hear it, when we hear, unfortunately, those situations, Joey, like that catering order, it allows us to go back to our product teams and leadership teams and really point out that not just the deficiencies, or rather roadblocks in the product today, but how we can help reshape the future of tomorrow and delivery as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, our business. One last thing. I'm sorry, Bernadette. With just talking about the Salad House, we're growing. We have 11 locations. Like I said, we have another 13 coming to market, and we're selling out of New Jersey, and we're going out of state. So if anybody's listening, Salad House. But new franchisees that come in, it's just so much easier to be able to direct them to you. No pun intended. That's one less headache and one less stress that we have to worry about in the training process. So you're serving as an answer. You're serving as a solution because it's already, like I said, the restaurant business is busy and crazy and there's headaches every day, and just to have one of these headaches, being able to be taken care of by you is just invaluable, and especially with us and the way we're growing. So thanks.
No, absolutely. And thank you to Food on Demand, honestly, too. Not to give you, just absolutely love attending the conference. And believe it or not, it's actually where this partnership with Incentivio kicked off. Going to give a shameless plug here for Rajat, Incentivio's CEO, who actually crashed our happy hour party a little over 2 years ago. And I cannot thank him enough for crashing that party, because we would not be here today. And thank you to Food on Demand as well, and everything you guys do for the industry.
Well, we want to thank all of you for taking the time to share your valuable expertise and personal experiences on this topic. So again, thank you, Zach, Jeremy, and Joey, for joining me today. That's about all the time we have. But to all of you at home or wherever you are listening, this webinar will be available soon on foodondemand.com in case you want to rewatch or share the conversation with others in your organization or beyond. So again, thank you for watching and have a great day.